Hey trainers, Alakaham here with some more Pokemon video magic, and for this video I am showcasing Tinkaton, which is a character that's relatively new to Pokemon Go and made a recent debut. And I invested some actual money along with other in-game resources in order to get a decent one of these things and to get the candy and everything to power it up. And I know that some of you might have already built one or are thinking about building one and wondering about the investment and everything. So this is my way of kind of showcasing some things that Tinkaton can do. Mine is not powered up as high as it could be because, as I've mentioned several times here, I'm not a professional player, and I imagine that many of you are not as well. So it just takes a little time, right, for me to build up the resources that it takes to create these characters and get them Go Battle League ready. I had a lot of fun with Tinkaton on the whole, and I think the typing is very good, and it's a fun Pokemon to have in Go Battle League, but there are a lot of counters to it right now, especially at my ELO range, which is at the Ace rank. So this is where a lot of people are, people who like Go Battle League, but who only get to do it, you know, after work and with their spare time and everything. So Ace rank is a really popular place to be, right? A place where a lot of us are, and there are a lot of folks who anticipate steel types in the meta right now, and so Tinkaton is somewhat vulnerable to anti-meta teams, as you are going to see in some of the video that I have to share with you today. And so that makes it kind of tricky, but knowing that, we can maybe try and plan around it a little bit, and we can also, just kind of anticipate that the counter teams are not going to persist as much as we continue forward, right, and as other Pokemon come out. So Tinkaton, definitely interesting character, definitely usable, definitely fun, but maybe just a little bit less exciting or as effective in the meta, at least for the Ace rank range, than what some other streamers who are at much higher ranks would make it out to be, right? So maybe that helps inform your decisions on how much you want to invest in a Tinkaton. I would definitely build one if you know you have the ability to, but remember, slow and steady can win the race here. If you don't have one for your team this season or immediately ready, that's okay. So as normal, I have completely chatted through the first part of my video, so I'll try and talk more about the players that I've selected and the choices that I'm making in the battles now. As you can tell, I've got Tinkaton up front. That's because PvPoke says that Tinkaton is best rated on the lead versus other positions like switch or closer. And because Tinkaton is very vulnerable to fire and to ground, I have selected a water type and a ground type to help with coverage. Lapras has pretty good general coverage, and of course has been given lots of updates this season and is pretty popular, pretty meta. And then I've got Claydoll, also with a buffed move there with Rock Tomb, which is really, really good, really, really cool. And Claydoll has actually really helped me out and really impressed me this season. So I am quite pleased with Claydoll and strongly recommend building one if you haven't already. So in this game, I'm having a pretty tough time here because I had Talonflame, a fire type, against my steel type up front, and then I made a swap with two water types, except for I was also part ice type and they were part fighting type, and Poliwrath, which is kind of a lesser seen, more off-meta pick. Very cool to see a Poliwrath on a team out here. Poliwrath was doing super effective damage there, and even though I am catching this Frenzy Plant onto my Tinkaton, I've got a grass type against my ground type in the back, and so I was countered all the way through. They had an exact counter for everything on my team, sometimes it happens. What are you going to do? Except, go on and play the next game. So good game to my opponent. I was not able to snag the win on that game, but let's see what we can do with game 3. Here we are in our third match, and I've got Tinkaton against Azumarill. And I didn't really know exactly how this matchup played out before I did this game. So I kind of figured, because the charge moves on Azu are going to be resisted, that I could probably stay in here with Tinkaton and just keep swinging away with these play roughs. So here we go with our second play rough, and we're going to swing the big hammer. And they're in the red, but they still have a decent chunk of health. So this Azumarill is definitely XL. It is beefy, and I'm working very hard to get to my Bulldoze there, but unfortunately, this Azu is just too tanky. So I know that my Tinkaton can be powered up a little bit, but it seems like Azumarill does pretty good in the 2-shield situation. I have to take another move onto my Lapras, but I don't want to give up a shield yet. So I just farm down, and I get lots and lots of energy, so I have almost 2 Sparkling Arias, and they come in with Sableye. I am very glad about seeing the Sableye here instead of against my Claydoll, because Claydoll, as a Psychic type, wants nothing to do with Shadow Claw or Foul Play. I'm going to immediately swap into my Claydoll to try and snipe and get a little bit ahead on energy, and I am able to do it. So that worked out nicely, and my opponent has an Alolan Marowak in the back. AWAC does have some very good offense as a Ghost type against Claydoll, and it does get to moves pretty quickly, but our fast move is doing a lot of work here, and in the 2-shield situation, I'm going to be able to farm down before they can actually land a charge move. So that worked out, and I'm able to take game number 3. Very, very happy with that. And we're going to go straight into game number 4 here. A little bit extra queuing time, but we found an opponent, and here we go. We've got Tinkaton into Miltank. Miltank was very popular last season. I've seen fewer Miltanks this season, but I'm pretty happy keeping Tinkaton in the lead matchup here, and we're just going to go for play roughs. The traditional moveset on Miltank does not... everything's resisted. The best thing they can have is a Thunderbolt, which would not one-shot a Tinkaton. There's the Thunderbolt, and we still have plenty of health, even after taking the Body Slam. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this next play rough, and they go ahead and let the Miltank go. Not quite able to get to my Bulldoze there, and now I'm in a tricky situation because Annihilate is one that is a little bit more rare this season because of the nerf on counter as a fast move. But the fact that it has access to Rage Fist to crank up its offense actually makes counter a much more viable move here. So both of my Pokemon in the back do not really want anything to do with this Annihilate. So what I'm planning to do here is I took the first Rage Fist knowing that it wouldn't quite KO, and I was able to shield up the other Rage Fists. We're out of shields, but I did farm down, and I had no idea what was coming out next, but I knew that it was going to get hit with a Rock Tomb no matter what, because I wanted to be able to debuff it. And they have a Wigglytuff. So Wigglytuff is, of course, a very strong player, but especially after a debuff, it doesn't have anything that's just going to fully take out my Lapras here. I just need to get to 2 Sparkling Arias. I got to the first one to get rid of the shield, and here we go. We are going to KO with the next one. Looks like my opponent maybe quit the app when they figured out what was going to happen there, but that's okay. We were able to take game number 4, and we are coming into the very last game of the set. We'll see what we can do, and still queuing up for an opponent here. There we go. and they have one of the Tinkaton hammers with their pose too. Very nice to see somebody else with a similar swag there. And they start with a Furret. Furret is a really cool Pokemon to be using right now. Sucker Punch as a fast move just got pumped up a little bit, and then Furret has access to a pretty wide range of moves that can provide a lot of coverage, so that's pretty cool. But nothing in the standard moveset does anything beyond resisted damage to Tinkaton, so I'm just staying in this matchup, and I'm gonna keep throwing Play Roughs just to make sure that we actually KO by landing these moves, or do as much damage as we can by landing these moves. And my opponent brings in a Clodsire, so this is one of the reasons why we have Bulldoze, so that we can do some general damage here, although Bulldoze is not like an amazing move in general, so even with super effective damage, it's not stab, and we just did okay damage against the Clodsire. Fortunately for me, Clodsire is not a great counter to either of my back Pokemon, so I'm really lucky there. The worst they could do to Claydoll was an Earthquake, which they did take advantage of, but we still have plenty of health there, and my opponent has a Feraligatr in the back. Not good for Claydoll, so what I'm going to do here is debuff by throwing a Rock Tomb and then swapping into Lapras. So we are safely going to tank the Hydro Cannon here, and this game is essentially over. Between the fast move damage, my 2 shields, and whatever I can chip with the charge moves, we are essentially going to be taking the win here. I throw the Skull Bash, knowing that if they block it, that's fine. My defense will be up, and I can maybe save another one of my shields. But they kind of see what's coming, and they go ahead and let the move through. Good game to my opponent, and altogether I'm able to take 4 out of 5 in that set. So Tinkaton, very fun. Claydoll, very competitive right now. Definitely recommend. And so that's my experience using Tinkaton. I'm going to keep trying to build it up and see what I can do playing with other teams. If you enjoyed the content, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe if you would like to see more things. And please leave me comments if you have anything that you want to share with me about Tinkaton or anything else going on in Pokemon Go right now. I love to get advice and team recommendation and to make my channel a place of community in talking about Pokemon Go. Hope that you enjoyed, and I'll have more content ready for you soon. Until next time, trainers.